Welcome to the GrowthPro Edge. We're here to help scale your business, build stronger teams, and sharpen your leadership skills. Hello and welcome to the GrowthPro Edge. I'm Denise Killian with the GrowthPro Group. Today, we're going to be talking about the supply chain and how it is impacting your business and your day-to-day operations, and certainly causing some problems for some future planning as well. So we're going to be joined by Claudine Ogilvie with Hivepix to talk about some solutions of what you can control with the supply chain and how it impacts your business. So let's get started. Claudine, hello and welcome to the GrowthPro Edge. We're thrilled to have you.
Thanks, Denise. Thank you very much for having me.
So listen, we're going to have a lot of conversation about this existential threat I think that so many companies and businesses are facing right now. But before we dig into that, first introduce yourself and explain to people why you're the person I wanted to talk to about this issue.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Claudine Ogilvie. I'm co-founder and CEO of Hivepix. We are a data exchange platform. We exchange product data and supply chain data across supply chain partners, so suppliers, distributors, companies, customers on the other end. We're a little bit like the best bits of a master data management, supply chain portal, and PIM all wrapped into one. Thanks to AI, all these things are so much better and more efficient now. So that's super exciting. My background is mostly tech. I was CIO for large listed organizations here in Australia. I now split my time between Australia and the US. I've lived and breathed this problem on a few different levels. I also have a co-founder called Melissa Hayes, and she has lived and breathed these problem statements as a chief marketing officer for consumer industrial markets listed organizations. So she's lived and breathed it from the people who are trying to do something valuable with this data on the inside. So between the two of us, we have an enormous passion for data, supply chain, AI, and really looking forward to helping some companies unlock their data.
There we go. So my first question is, there are so many issues that businesses across the globe are facing. Part of it is because we're so interconnected in our business world, but another part of it is a lot of issues that no business has control over. So what would you say are the top threats for the supply chain that impact businesses?
Oh my goodness. There are so many, but I think the ones that we are seeing companies grapple with the most right now. And number one is the one everyone's talking about. It is no surprise. It's AI and how fast that is moving. It is many different types of AI. We've gone from traditional AI to generative AI. Now it's agentic AI, and who knows what will happen over the next few months / next year. And I think a lot of companies are just trying to keep up. It is not just another tool, it is transforming businesses and their supply chains. It is completely it's a massive upheaval, right? And we can come back to this one and what it means, and for small and large organizations alike, who also have to rely on their data to make AI work for them. And it's the same thing when you're dealing with supply chain partners, right? Number two, I have to say, it wasn't the case a few months ago, but it is very much the fuel price hikes that has caused a little bit of turmoil, to say the least, and that can be felt across supply chains. You can really feel it in the pricing, but also sort of product availability. So this is really driving when we've got clients who have picked up the phone to me and gone, I know we were going to sort of onboard in a few weeks' time, but can we do it on Monday? And I'll be like, okay, we can absolutely do that. And the reason for this is, the impact is now. It's not being felt, over the next few weeks or months. It's now, and it's actually it surprised me how quickly it's been translating through supply chains, through availability, through pricing. there's that piece. And I think the third big piece is, I'm going to say, sort of geopolitical shifts. And, there's sort of like a great sort of, call it the great divide, globally, whereby, for many reasons, you have organizations who don't want to source from certain countries, and that's also being reinforced by measures like tariff measures. So that's also being reinforced by pricing measures. Whether or not you buy into those geopolitical pressures, economically, you're starting to see these mechanisms sort of flow through supply chains. And so there are these shifts that are difficult to ignore commercially now, and that is impacting things like dual sourcing strategies that supply chains and companies have to sort of mitigate disruption. Where I might have a preferred supplier or two, maybe, and hence dual sourcing. But actually, you need more visibility of your supply chain, to give you more optionality to understand what's out there, because I think the disruptions are coming in fast, and sometimes they're not always predictable. So having that visibility can really give you a bit of a competitive edge. So those are, I think, the three areas that I'm seeing being the most disruptive, at least with the companies that I'm talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the unfortunate thing is that two of those three, there's not a thing that any company can do about to change it,
Oh,
to stop it, to lower prices, to end tariffs, right? That there's not
no.
anything that one company can really do to impact that. But there are some tools that you can employ and some strategies that you can employ to help mitigate some of those impacts. So I want to come back to AI in just a minute, because I think that's a huge discussion that can be overwhelming for so many companies of, sure, we know it's out there, but how do we really use it the best? And what's right for us? And how do you make it worth your while? But all of it kind of comes down to data. And no AI program, no strategy is going to work unless you have the right data and know how to read it. So, my first question, really under that umbrella, is what are the data points that people should be paying attention to when they're looking at their supply chain?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I also just wanted to touch on the fact that you're absolutely right. You can't control what happens to you as an organization, and these big macro trends. Yeah, you can't do much about them, but you can control what you do about them. And that's certainly where I'm coming from. So AI, I mean, yeah, it's huge, it's massive. The It can be a massive unlock, even if you don't have a lot of resources, but it can be massively overwhelming. It is. So sometimes it's a case of small steps. We're finding, even for enterprise, so it's not just, say, the mid market or the small companies. It's also really large enterprise who have massive legacy systems. It could be systems fragmentation. Over the years, that one critical system that you haven't been able to upgrade, because it is so critical and it's just so hard to sort of get around to that. So there are very few organizations that I know that don't have any of that, big and small, and sort of wrapping your arms around that data can be huge. So really, I think for a start, it's about how do you unify your data, how you get it all together. And I think traditionally you've had tools like EDIs or APIs that help integrate your systems, and they sound great, but they're one to one. They can be really expensive. If you're a large organization, you probably need a small team to help manage, get that data in and out. Every time there's an update, you need to, check your EDI, and so it can be really burdensome. Which is why I think a lot of organizations, big and small, we're talking the big multinationals, but as well as your tiny organization, they still send Excel spreadsheets and emails and attachments to each other to exchange information. So certainly at Hivepix, where we're like, there has to be a better way. This is insane. And there are these big, sophisticated systems inside your organization, but no one's really tried to connect to them inside and out, but also, you can use that to connect your systems within your organization. So, we put a lot of thought into this because it's the massive unlock. It has to be easy. It can't be expensive. And at Hivepix, basically, so you join Hivepix, you can EDI or it's API or integrate. That's fine. But also, you can simply unify your data by bringing it in, like from all your suppliers. Like if all your suppliers are not in Hivepix, that's fine. You take what they give you in the format that they give it to you in, and then you can ingest it into Hivepix. And Hivepix does all the hard work in terms of, okay, how do you want your data? You would have set it up to sort of say, this is how I want my data. These are the formats. These are my systems. So when you ingest that data, Hivepix can also then push it back out to whatever system or systems you have in the format that makes sense to you. It might sound really basic, but at the moment, I think that ingestion piece is really hard. And I think a lot of that, AI has made that, and a lot of our backend system has made that easy. We've definitely taken the approach that keep the complexity in the back end. So on the front end, it's deceivingly simple. And that's absolutely how AI should be. And, you know, uh, traditionally, when you looked at, say, a master data management system, you've sort of had to define, this is my data, this is my data model, here's what I want and how I want. A lot of thinking would have to go into that. And I have to say, if you're a business with not enormous resources to spare, which is probably most of us, and you've got no time, you don't really want to have to sit there and map out all your systems and your models and how does it all come together. You just want to know. You just know that for my ERP or my mid-size ERP, this is how I need my data. For this system, maybe it's my warehouse management system. This is how I need my data, etc. That's all you got to know, and you sort of upload that into Hivepix, and Hivepix does all that translation for you. So there's a real sort of unlock, I think, that you can do to unify your data within the organization, to keep it clean without overly over engineering it, right? Your finance director or manager continues to have full ownership over the ERP system, for example, and it might be that your marketing guys have full ownership over your product information management system. Same thing for warehousing, etc. None of that changes, and they can continue doing it in the formats that they've always done it in, because Hivepix does all the hard work in the back end. So that's just one example of clearly we believe in Hivepix as being a real revolutionary unlock here, because AI should unlock simplicity and should unlock time for businesses, big and small. So, this sort of, I can't use AI because I don't have good data, or I don't know how to unify my data, should no longer be a problem anymore. It's something that you can actually bring all together easier than you've ever done it before. Like, I think it's really been certainly a real barrier in the past, but I think maybe it's almost a mental barrier now, because people have the scars of giving it a go in the past. Yeah, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to touch my data. It's been a nightmare. Yeah. Whereas all of that, is being made really easy. So honestly, it's almost a commercial imperative these days, that if you're a small business, you probably should be using AI, because that's how you're going to leapfrog the competition. That's how you're going to catch up to, if you're a small organization, to the big organizations. If you're a big organization, that's how you're going to, leapfrog all those legacy systems. This is how you're going to unlock the terabytes of data that you have sitting there, but has been in the too hard bucket. Honestly, I don't have the time or the resources to unlock that data, and so you narrow everything. But honestly, you're missing out if you can't, address and unify some of that data. So,
Mhm. So, and that's something that, you know, for a lot of folks, it's okay. My sales platform is this, and this is the information that it's in, and this is the way that I can pull reports from there. But then I need to compare it to this that's in my inventory system. And then my distribution system is a whole nother thing. So you're spending half a
mhm.
day pulling basic information that you need to make important decisions.
Yes.
So having
But it's
some way to
really hard,
unify
right?
it, yeah, having some way to
Yeah.
unify it to where it's just right there for you.
You don't
That's a
want to spend your
great thing.
time copy pasting out of this systems in the right format so you can then do analyses. It's no, just funnel it through a tool like Hivepix, because that'll do it for you, and then you've got real data that you can get real insights out of easily. I mean, how much time would you save if you didn't have to worry about you know getting your data all together in the right format in the right way, so that I don't have, because crap in is crap out when it comes to data, right? Good AI needs good data, and AI should be for everyone, right? Big, small, legacy, new, and I think that's the promise, and I think many organizations are finding it harder than they should because of their data.
Hmm. Right.
Mm.
So when we talk about that data and some of the other strategies, first of all, you got to get it unified.
Yep.
You've got to be able to at a glance do it and not spend half a
Yes.
day and 15 people to make it happen. Right?
Mm.
That unify that data. Another thing that you brought up was about the dual sourcing strategies.
Yep.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. And in terms of a recommendation, when things are so shifting so quickly, like if you need the one
Yes.
widget for your
Mhm.
product, and there's probably 15 people or places around the world that make that widget,
Yep.
but
Mhm.
who has what and when can sometimes be in so much flux. So what is the recommendation there?
I'm so glad you asked. So, once you get all your suppliers into Hivepix, I think a powerful tool is that your suppliers, assuming they're in Hivepix, and if they're not, like I said, you can import their data on their behalf because they've given it to you anyway. So that gives you a unique visibility that was difficult to obtain before. But if they are in Hivepix, they can actually make their entire product catalog public. And what that means is, as you might say your website, and you might say, "Hey, I'm happy for everyone to see what I have," right? Um, that means that your customers can then see all of the products that you have, whether or not you purchase that product, which would be what would be in your ERP system, right? But maybe I need a slightly different product, or maybe an alternate, or a product would suffice, for example, except that because I didn't buy it, it's not in my systems. I can't search for it. But in Hivepix, you can put everything in Hivepix so that it's searchable. We have a client um, who explicitly needs great visibility, not just of the product spec, but of their distributors' inventory and pricing specific to them, so that they can then bundle and package and reshape those products and then on-sell them. That's kind of their business model. And so they've onboarded one of their major suppliers and distributors to specifically provide inventory and pricing data to them, because you don't have to, when you put information in Hivepix, we have like these granular security and permissions, so that you can decide that company A sees this kind of data, company B sees slightly different data. It gives you real power as to how you go to market, and what pricing do different customers see, because maybe they're in a different tier. Maybe you've brokered a different deal with them because of volume, or whatever your deal happens to be, right? So Hypix gives them full control from a distributor and supplier perspective to put out to market what they want in the way that they want it, right? So from a supplier distributor perspective, it's win-win. They get a new channel to market, a new channel to sell more. From a customer perspective, they can see more of different products from different suppliers and distributors, and they can make better, more informed decisions, not just for, say, sourcing in the moment, but also for strategic sourcing. As you sort of mentioned, Denise, it's also dual sourcing strategies. Look, if I can't get it from supplier A, I can get it from supplier B. What if the Baltimore Bridge goes down, and suddenly there's just no availability? It's got nothing to do with pricing. Who else can I turn to for the volumes that I need? And it's often not just like the one supplier. Sometimes you have to turn to multiples. And how do you find that fast? And so in Hivepix, we've unlocked this ability to search across products, across your suppliers, across but almost any angle that you'd like to see, who and what are out there in your particular ecosystem. So you basically are empowered to build out your ecosystems that matter to you, and in that way, you get this sort of unparalleled visibility. Visibility is key here. I think a lot of the data exists, but it's really hard to get up-to-date information fast. And I think today, this particular company I was talking about before would have to ring up every distributor and supplier and be like, so what have you got? At what price? What's available? And then only after, sometimes it can be a week or two of ringing around, do they really understand what is available at what price? And then they can confidently bundle, repackage, and on sell, right? That's insane. Whereas it should be just click button, search, select appropriate products, and then on you go, right? So they see this as a huge competitive unlock for them, and their distributors, suppliers see this as a whole new channel to market where they can sell more quickly. So this is, I love this use case because it's such a win-win across the supply chain.
No, absolutely. And I would imagine having that information all in kind of one place can also kind of help you identify some of the predictors before a big disruption happens.
Uh, maybe, before predict in what were you thinking, Denise?
Like
Maybe
if
I've
you're seeing
misinterpreted the question.
that there are fewer of this widget, right? We're going to go back to the widget.
Oh, I see.
There are fewer of this widget, and your main supplier has fewer of this widget. But then I'm looking
I'm with
around,
you.
but
I'm
I'm
with you.
seeing, oh wait, there's fewer here, and there's fewer here, and there's fewer here. In terms of predicting, there could be something going on. I need to act now and not wait and see if it turns
Yeah.
around.
Actually, that's a really good point. I mean, if you can see before anybody else that there's a supply challenge or availability challenge, it really gives you the information and the tools to go forth and address that first. Maybe get the supply that get to that supply first. That's another option. But also sort of get on top of your strategies as to how are you going to mitigate a potential looming issue. Yeah, no, 100%. And, speed and being first to market, or certainly being first to supply, if supply demand is being challenged, can mean having product to sell, having no product to sell. Absolutely. Yep.
And as an example, years ago, Southwest, an American airline, was really, really smart and had some foresight and say, I think gas prices are going up, and they bought a ton of gas, and they were able a ton of jet fuel that they had in stock, like ready to go, where every other airline had to start raising their prices and raising their prices and raising their prices. And they got to stay and increase their business because they didn't increase their price, because the main indicator for your airline fare is the cost of jet fuel.
Yeah.
And they had a stockpile already at that previous price. So being able to see, like, oh, if there's fewer of this widget, or I'm seeing the prices go up on this on multiple suppliers, I kind of need to act now before it gets worse, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's, hedging and call it strategic sourcing for resilience. They were really smart. And a lot of airlines try to do that. Some do it better than others. And yeah, speed to market and having the insights before the others can make all the difference. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
So as we're winding down our time, unfortunately, because we could talk for hours and hours, my friend, you're so smart about so many things. I want to ask you, if you could give a piece of advice to any business leader out there that about their supply chain going forward, what would it be?
it would simply be you've already got a lot of data. I haven't come across a business that doesn't have data. It's just how usable and accessible is it, so that you can translate that into both better insights for decision making and unlocking your time as a business person, right? So I would say it's not as hard as it used to be. There are tools out there like Hivepix that help you automate the exchange of product data across supply chain partners. So you get that automation, the cost out benefits, of course, but also there are much bigger, more strategic plays here. Like once you get access to this ecosystem of data, it unlocks better sales for you, not just for you, but your entire ecosystem, right? You kind of become the preferred supplier or customer to work with, being part of an ecosystem like this that is win-win. It unlocks sales, it unlocks savings, it helps to protect your margins. I mean, all these things make an enormous difference in a really competitive market where AI is becoming increasingly, it's an embedded part of your business. It's often it's back-end infrastructure, sure, and it's sort of becoming a part of the tools that you use, but also it's it's the front end stuff like the pilots that you use, and if you want to start using AI to start unlocking even simple use cases, don't be afraid that you don't have the data to get it done. I think you can unify it pretty easily. You can get it into one spot and spin up your, say, a product template within Hivepix really easy, like drag and drop kind of stuff. And so, yeah, don't be afraid. Give it a go. Lean into it. AI and data is the unlock to competitiveness, to freeing up your time and improving your margins.
Excellent. Excellent. Claudine, how can people get a hold of you or learn more about Hivepix?
Yeah, glad you asked. You can contact us on our website, which is Hivepix, HIVEPIX.com. Or of course, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or my email address. Anyone is more than welcome to email me directly at Claudine, CLAUDINE.o@hivepix.com.
Excellent. Claudine, this has been so enlightening. And it's just great when we know that there are some steps that you can take to help you get through sort of the quagmire of things that are beyond your control. So thank you for this illumination. And it's hopeful and helpful. And I certainly appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Denise. It's been really great to chat, and I look forward to hearing about more use cases from more companies who want to unlock their data. It's an exciting time.
Well, we hope today's conversation has given you some practical tools to help you sharpen your edge and accelerate your growth. If you're ready to grow your team, your business, or yourself, contact us at thegrowthprogroup.com and set up a free growth call with one of our coaches. Once again, a special thanks to our sponsors, Embed, Party Center Software, ANA Global, Betson, Semnox, Shaffer, and Roller, for all that they do to help us bring you the GrowthPro Edge. And until next time, I'm Denise Killian with the GrowthPro Group. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for the extraordinary.